I see his point, but all in all, I'm going to have to disagree with Louis from Kitchen Table TCG on his views on diversifying with trading card games. Hi, my name's Nick. I'm here with my cat who's desperate for love and attention, so I'm going to double task here by giving my cat nice pets and talking to you about cardboard. Please subscribe. Anyway, so Louis with Kitchen Table TCG, you should check out his channel. It is incredible content. He has been a little absent from the YouTube space recently due to illness in his family. You know, God bless him, and hopefully there's speedy recoveries and everybody's doing well over there. But and then also on a more selfish note, please come back and make more content, and we all miss your Friday podcast. Okay, anyway. So he shares a lot of his insight, and like most of the greatest creators in the space, he owns a game store, and he has thoughts and opinions and lots of very valuable experience from actually running a local game store in West Virginia. And so I take what he talks about and what he shares very seriously, because him, and there's quite a few people like this, right? They'll all have their game stores and have been running it for varying degrees of time. Louis, what's really impressive about Louis is how his business has grown. He has upgraded spaces. He has gone through, having to change partners and change names. And, he's done a lot. He's done a lot with growing and with doing the trading card game. He does a lot with distribution and his Patreon programs and everything. So it's pretty cool, very impressive. And Louis has a thesis about diversifying what kind of trading card games you sell. So he's a big fan, just like I am, of people getting a TCG player account, getting to level 4 and becoming a seller, being able to sell your stuff on TCG player, sell cards, make money, support your hobby that way. Or turn it into a side hustle, or into a hustle, or into a main hustle, whatever you want to do. But it's fun, it's cool, it's empowering to be able to sell your cards on TCG player. So Louis takes it one step further, though, and talks about how it is valuable, especially if you're in this for the hustle, for the side hustle, which like I obviously am. Like I said, I've sold quite a bit of cards in the past year. I'm still selling quite a bit of cards. I've got a bunch of orders over there that I was packing up while watching Severance. I know. It's a little late to be watching Severance, but here I am watching Severance. So it's all good. But Louis' thesis is that you should diversify and have multiple trading card games that you are into, that you open, that you sell singles from, that you invest in. And that is interesting. And I see that there's like quite a few great points. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And we're going to talk about what I think is true about that. And then we'll talk about what I think is, a little like, I guess not misleading, but just, I don't know, the reasons why I think that's a mistake. But before we get into that, I'm going to open up a pack of a different trading card game. I was at Target and I saw Neopets Battle Dome. If anyone else was like a 90 kid like me, Neopets, not that it came out in the 90s, but you're coming of age and Neopets was a thing. And it is just so interesting seeing all the different trading card games out there. And I was even trying to do some research on this, and it's not clear to me that this game is even like still around. A Kachik, a cow. It's a cow, but it's spelled with a K-A-U. Very cool. An Ixie. Ooh, a foil. I don't know if there's always a foil. That's pretty cool. A Void Blighthound. A Void Empowered Junie. A Gray Hot Dog Avoider. Lou, a healthy looking elf woman. And interesting. Okay, so this is a different trading card game, and yeah, the card quality I think feels pretty cheap. Oh, it's quite flimsy. It's really interesting. I wonder how it passes the bend test, how much you can bend it and it'll retain its shape. Not too bad. I don't know. I don't hate this. It's really interesting. So, okay, what's my point? My point is there's lots of trading card games out there, and you can get into all of them. And I could try to sell these singles somewhere. Probably not TCG Player has, Neopets Battle Dome, but, eBay or wherever, you can sell your stuff. But obviously, selling Neopets is not a good use of your side hustle. And I don't think when Louis is talking about getting in diversifying into trading card games, he's talking about Neopets. I doubt that. I think what he's really talking about is like Pokemon. He's also talking about games like Sorcery, like some smaller games too can have positive expected value. Now the liquidity is a different thing. And to use normal English terms, when a game is big and very popular like Magic or Pokemon, it's often relatively easy to sell those cards and make money. If a game is smaller, like I think Flesh and Blood is like this. I think Sorcery is like this. I think name some other games that are smaller. The cards might be worth a lot, but they don't sell very quickly. And there's cards like that in Magic and Pokemon too. Well, at least in Magic. But and so it can cause a problem if you're like opening booster boxes to sell the singles. If those singles don't sell very quickly, then that could be a problem. You might not mind holding on to it and just waiting, but if you do mind, then that can be a problem. So let's talk about Pokemon, because I think Pokemon is the strongest steel man of this kind of argument that is you should diversify into other card games. So the reasons to diversify that Louis shares, and that I think these are kind of the two big ones. The first one is that diversification protects you from variance, which this is a statistical fact, which is that if you have two things and both of those things can like decrease or increase in value, it's less risky than if you have one thing, assuming that those two things are different and have different levels of risk or different ways they vary. So it's there's cool mathematical proof for it that like covariance will always be better than just variance, or smaller. But the takeaway is that, and really where the rubber hits the road, is that if you own Pokemon and Magic cards, and for whatever reason Magic cards dip, Pokemon cards likely won't be dipping at the same time. And so your business should be relatively unscathed, which I think is a good point. The problem with that is, like Mason actually with Cardinal Gaming was talking about this the other day, and I talked about this without using the colloquial term, which is the lipstick. Like the lipstick, I don't even know what you call it, but how lipstick is a thing that in recessions people still buy it. So are Magic cards. That's how Mason feels about Magic cards. And I believe there's great evidence from a macroeconomic perspective, as well as just anecdotally, that recessions aren't going to hurt Magic cards. They're not going to hurt Pokemon cards. In general, people still buy the things that they most love, even if they don't have any money. And so, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because it's like, how do they buy stuff if they don't have any money? And that is the beauty of our modern economy, is that you do not have to be making money to be able to buy things. So if one hobby's doing well and the other one's doing poorly, you can kind of be protected from that variance. But I just don't think that so there are times where Magic's done poorly. Notably, like fairly recently, 4 years ago, Magic was doing quite poorly. And so you would say, so the argument would go something like, I think what happened 3-4 years ago can happen again. And to protect myself against that, I'm going to also invest in like Pokemon or in One Piece or in Sorcery or whatever other card game. And I think that that is totally fair. I personally don't think Magic is going to undergo another 30th anniversary type debacle. And that might be completely naive, but that's where I come from. And that's part of the reason why I disagree with Louis, is that I don't think that variance is actually a problem. So you might, if you think that Magic is going to like downturn in some serious way at some point, then yeah, it'd be a good idea to protect your business, protect your collection, whatever, to diversify and not just buy or hold on to Magic products. So another reason to diversify is that Pokemon is just so darn successful. So, I mean, the most expensive card in the world is a Pokemon card that sold the other month for like over $15 million. CNBC and Wall Street Journal and other publications have written articles about how investing in Pokemon has outperformed the S&P 500 over the past decade. This is kind of some mainstream-ish that's like pointing out that Pokemon is an extremely lucrative hobby as a collector investor. And touche, right? Like, cannot deny. And it's just interesting because people bug Rudy about this too. It's like, why don't you just go into Pokemon? You know, sell your Magic, just go into Pokemon. And Rudy doesn't do that for the same reason I don't do that. And it's probably a similar reason that you don't do that, which is that we don't like Pokemon. We like Magic, okay? And Magic has a lot of pros that probably has a lot of pros that Pokemon doesn't have. And those don't come to my mind right now, but they're probably there. And if you have them, please share in the comments, because I'd love to be able to bash on Pokemon more and talk about how Magic's better, because I like Magic more. So those are the big reasons that diversify, in my opinion, would be that diversification protects you against another Magic 30th type event, and then also Pokemon is just so successful. And those are great reasons. But here's the reasons I have for why I'm not diversifying, and that even though I have a really cute Kachik. Oh, okay. I thought there was a scratch on it. It was just a cat hair. And these have symbols in the corner. Is there? So is my shiny? No, I don't think. I think these are just uncommons. I don't think these are actually good. Anyway, all right, sorry. So there's two reasons why you don't need to diversify. I already talked about one, the lipstick effect. Magic does well. I don't think we're going to have another Magic 30th turnaround or downturn. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is specialization. There are huge benefits to really knowing Magic. So I'm not saying that there aren't benefits to really knowing Pokemon, but if you're able to specialize and really understand Magic, really understand what cards are worth, really understand how the market's going, really understand, what formats are popular and what singles have a chance of doing well, and what collections are worth buying versus not worth buying, and what sealed products are likely to appreciate, and what the distribution patterns are so that you know where the reprints are coming, and etc. I'm not saying you couldn't know that for both Pokemon and Magic, but knowing that for Magic, being able to specialize and really become an expert in what you know in Magic is going to be valuable. I believe that. And so for those two reasons, for the fact that I don't think Magic's going to have a real downturn, and because I think that there's huge benefits to me specializing in Magic, that's why I disagree. I disagree with Louis. I don't think I'm going to diversify into Pokemon or whatever, even though I do see that is, like, objectively not a bad idea. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. So, hey, thanks for watching. Once again, if you would like to subscribe, that will greatly please my cat, who is perched on the table right in front of me. Got his tail right there as proof. Anyways, thank you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.